Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to our team call. We have a very special guest with us tonight, Andrea Crowder. Let me go ahead and unmute you there. So let me tell you about Andrea. She is, you probably heard her on the National Wake Up Call, I think a couple weeks ago. She's also an expert in social media and in Facebook, and that's what she's going to talk to us tonight about. She is also someone who I know personally because she used to live out here in the DC area with me. We both hosted Super Saturdays together, so I will call her my friend. And then she moved out to, I think, Arizona or California. I'm not sure. What was that?
Arizona.
Arizona, okay. And I think she was like a 5-star when she left, and then she went out to Arizona and she just like exploded. So I don't know what's in the water out there, but she's now a 9-star diamond, but she has 20 diamond coaches underneath her. I know she has been 15-star qualifying in the past, so I'm sure she'll get back there to superstar soon enough. So I think she's also an elite coach, so I will turn it over to Andrea.
Thank you. So yes, we don't drink the water here in Arizona, so it's definitely not the water.
Like Cancun, right?
We're almost Mexico, so we don't drink the water. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. So you just let me know. Let's see. There we go. Do you see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about social media because this is how I grew my entire business. I started my business when I was working full-time, and so I worked full-time during the day, came home, took care of my kids, my family, and then I worked my business at night after my kids were in bed. So I get busy, and I know that oftentimes there are a lot of things that seem to derail us, and I know personally, I'm not going to talk about this particular topic tonight, but if you guys have that kind of painted vision of what is important to you and why you want this business more than you want to, you know, watch TV or go hang with friends. I sacrificed a lot to be able to build my business to full-time income, but it was because we were really uncomfortable. We were living underneath a pile of $100,000 worth of debt. My husband lovingly refers to the first probably 3/4 of our marriage as my years of career ADD, which is what built up a lot of that debt because I kept switching my degrees because I just didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Had no idea that I wanted to be a Beachbody coach. I was not doing anything that had to do with the health and fitness industry. I was a full-time corporate event planner and executive assistant to the president of our company. So it had nothing to do with network marketing. It had nothing to do with marketing at all. It had nothing to do with fitness. This business was completely brand new to me. But when I started, my intention was just to make a couple extra $100 a month because I was going to have to start paying on those student loan bills, and we were already living paycheck to paycheck. I was tired of having silly fights with my husband. I didn't want to fight with him anymore over, you know, $2 spent at a convenience store. And that was how stressed we were for money. It was like a penny here and a penny there. And like, what kind of fight can that turn into? And that was driving a big wedge between my marriage and was making it hard for me to be the mom that I wanted to be. And so I really had a very deep, deep why of why I wanted this business to work for me. But truly what helped me fall in love was the mission, the company, the products, and all of you guys, the community. And when I really started linking arms with other ambitious, goal-driven people, that was like my crack. That was enough for me. And I was like, this is what I want to do for forever. Whether it's Beachbody for forever or something that has to do with working with like really driven entrepreneurs that just have vision of making a difference. My personal mission statement is that I teach women how to create physical and financial wealth, freedom, and joy so that we can show up in the world in a bigger and more audacious way. That's a big part of our team foundation, is giving and really serving people. And I think with like the two like primary most important human needs, being a contributor and then being someone who wants to grow, those two human needs fit so perfectly into this business. And so I didn't have that like really big jump start in my business. I got to diamond very quickly, but I got stuck there for 18 months and my income started declining. You guys might have heard my story on the wake up call last week, where I basically, over the next 18 months, my income went straight back to almost zero. I think I had like a $70 paycheck 18 months in the business. And I was so exhausted working full time, working my business. And I felt like I was just running ragged because I wanted this business to work so hard. And I think more often than not, most coaches hit that bump where they're like, everybody else is moving faster than me, or so it appears, but really that's just not the case. Most people, like if you look at it, there's 200 and something elite coaches out of over 200,000 coaches. So it's really, when we're kind of frustrated and we are focused on like moving forward and focused on ourselves, we feel like we're alone, and we feel like we're the only ones who it's just not clicking for. And when I switched my focus to really serving and then really incorporating my faith into my business, I spent a lot of time shifting my personal development to my mindset and then focus on my daily habits. Just those core vital behaviors of inviting and building strong relationships with people, and building trust. And within the next 18 months, in fact, it's actually, I just had a couple new coaches go diamond. So within 18 months, well, I'd say probably like 24 months total now, I've helped 22 other coaches go diamond. And so if I had given up during those times where it was frustrating and I had that slow learning curve, I would have forfeited paying off that $100,000 worth of debt. I would have forfeited being able to walk away from my full-time job. And so I like to start my trainings for other people sharing that story, because I know that story was it's my story that I'm obligated to share. Because if you guys come to a speed bump, you have to remember that success is 80% what you believe up here, 20% tactical. So if I can't teach you guys to believe in here and to be focused on like taking care of your belief system and how you speak about yourself and how you speak about your coaches. I remember I used to say this one thing, why does nobody get this but me? And I manifested that into my business where nobody got it but me for 18 months. And that's why I stayed stuck. When I started believing that other people could do it, and really replacing those words with more positive words, that's when my business exploded. So I wanted to start off with that for you guys, because I find that that's where most people get stuck. It's what you say or what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the potential of the people that you're working with. So now we're going to get into more of the tactical of how I built my business and how I started attracting leaders to me. And what I often see for new coaches especially is that we're still trying to find our way. We're still trying to find our voice. And so we're looking at what other people are doing. And well, if like 20 people are doing this, then this must be the right way to do it. And that's not always the case, because those 20 people could absolutely be doing it wrong. And so I want you guys to think about, number one, how can I make my brand about me? Because that's what people are buying. They're buying you. They're not buying Beachbody. They're not buying P90X or 21 Day Fix or Shakeology. They're buying you. And the bonus is the products. But the reason that, I mean, they could easily just go to the website, and if that's all they wanted was a product, they'd go to beachbody.com and they'd buy it. But they are trying to find someone that is going to be able to serve them. And the reason that they're going to pick you over someone else is because you are making your brand something that's unique. You're the only one of you that has ever and will ever live. And if you don't share your voice about who you are and what's important to you and your struggles the elements of your life and your experiences that make you who you are at your core, they don't know you enough to trust you and to connect with you. So I challenge you guys today to put your blinders on and stop focusing so much, because it can so easily become that, slip into that comparison game. And I'm guilty of this even to this day. I'll catch myself. I just caught myself yesterday looking at a couple other elite coaches, and I'm like, oh, their pictures are better than mine, and oh, their message was better than mine. And I know myself now, and I know that, like, okay, got to close up social media, and I have to go back to my roots, because I can't be them as well as they can be them. The only person that I can rock at being at is myself. And so take comfort in knowing that there's something truly beautiful and unique about you. This business isn't about competing with others, because the right people will end up on your bus as long as you're putting yourself out there as who you truly are at your roots and not trying to be someone else. I was talking to Brandy Botts just a month ago, and she said that, well, Lindsay Matway's done such a beautiful job of, like, you know, building this brand of, like, this very, really, like, well put together coaches, and just like that bombshell, right? If you look at her top coaches, they're stunning, they're really well put together, they're fashionable, but that's who Lindsay is. And that's not who Brandy is. And she's like, I can't be like that. As much as I want to be put together all the time, I don't shower every day. And she's like, I can't put myself out there like that, because that's not true to who I am as a person. And it was just a great reminder to me to hear another top coach like that, you know, catch herself in that, like, seeing what other people are doing and then having to go back and be centered and say, nope, that's not who I am as a person, and really staying true to herself. And that's why she's such an amazing coach. So just wanted to kind of go into details with you guys about making sure that when you're putting yourself out there.
It's okay. I'm okay. Okay, I'll use it tomorrow.
Let me mute that.
It's all good.
Okay.
So when you guys are putting yourself out there, to make sure to just be truthful to who you are as a person. The other thing that I really like to help people develop is knowing your ideal customer or your ideal coach, because I think a lot of coaches will skip this, and I'm going to almost kind of double doggy dare you guys to not, because the people who are excelling faster than you are the people that have a really specific person in their mind that they're speaking to when they type through social media. And so when I write out a post on social media, I'm talking to one person. She's a dear friend, and I call her my sister, because that's how I speak. And so I created what I refer to as my ideal customer, and I'll share this document with Greg so you guys can fill this out yourselves. But I created this document to help my team start to think about who their ideal customer is and who their ideal coach is. Print it out and do this twice. Do one for your ideal customer and your ideal coach, because they might be the same person eventually, but they're not that same person at the same time usually. So, you know, the person who's ready to just, like, take this business by storm isn't necessarily the person who's, like, still really insecure about loving themselves and about believing in themselves. It might be the same person for you, but most often it's not. So I want you to sit down and think about who that person would be. Go interview friends. I interviewed a bunch of people who were on my team, people that I loved working with, especially with customers. Like, we get to decide who we work with and who we're going to be able to serve the best. And we can't serve everyone really well, because the person that connects with me isn't necessarily going to connect with you, and vice versa. So I want to be able to really know who I'm speaking to and how to speak to that person, to where I connect with that person that is really truly going to be able to be served by me, and that we're going to be able to connect with each other. So this is an example of my ideal coach avatar. Now, I took Stephanie Chico, she's a great friend of mine, as just kind of the face of my ideal customer, or my ideal coach. And I created just this fun little graphic to inspire me. I like to be creative in my business, and I'm a really visual person. But I wrote out a story about her. And so some of the story is a little bit Stephanie, but most of the story is really me, because I know like the struggles that I went through, and I'm so deeply passionate about pulling people out of those struggles, especially the struggle of financial debt. Because I know what it was doing to my relationships. And so that gives me a lot of passion of how I want to be able to contribute to other people. And so that's who I target as far as coaches, because I know that I've been through that struggle, I've gotten out of it, or I was in the process of getting out of it. And I knew that I could give that person a tool to be able to help them. So I'm going to go ahead and read this for you guys, because I'm not sure how fuzzy it is, but it says, Stephanie is a loving wife and a mother. She is suffocating under a pile of substantial debt, stressed and struggling with career ADD, and tired of always feeling 3 steps behind. She dreams of a life where she can own her own time, have coffee dates with her girlfriends whenever she wants, travel as she pleases, drink Italian wine in Italy, dinner dates with her husband that don't involve panic about what the bill will look like, go on field trips with her kids, and still have her career all to herself. She wants to have her cake and eat it too, and she's willing to work hard for it. She's spiritual, self-motivated, driven, and wears half-glass full goggles. She's a normal girl who just wants a little bit more out of life. She dreams of real vacations and wants to incorporate more luxuries into her life for herself and her family. She loves to shop with her girlfriends and is very trendy. She craves feminine connections and new experiences, a real zest to get the most out of life. She wants location freedom to make an impact with a powerful ripple effect, and she has big philanthropic and financial goals. She's disciplined, but also knows how to relax and enjoy life. She shops at Anthropologie, Tory Burch, and Forever 21. Her power look is red lipstick and a black blazer with her sparkly red bottom shoes. She enjoys a big glass of Pinot every Thursday as she keeps up with Olivia Pope's dramatic life on Scandal. Now, some people are like, why do we care where she shops? Why do we care what TV shows she watches, or what kind of wine she drinks, or whether she's spiritual? And I'll tell you guys, or I'll show you guys how you're going to use this story to attract the right person to you. So let me just quickly share one of my favorite brands, not only because I love shopping there and I am their ideal customer, but because I have mad respect for their marketing and branding capabilities. One thing that I really decided in the beginning was, if I want a really powerful brand, if I want to attract the right people to my bus, then I need to study other really successful brands and find out what are they doing and how can I apply that to my business. I've always looked to see how other companies that are completely separate from network marketing companies, like online marketing companies, you guys may have heard of like Marie Forleo or Sarah Jenks. Those are some of my favorite bloggers. And what are they doing to grow their business, or how are they positioning themselves, and how are they marketing to their ideal customer, and what can I take away from that? So Anthropologie, you guys, if you want to just take a quick screenshot of this URL, or I can send it over to Greg, but they have done a really good job of painting a very, very detailed and specific story about their ideal customer. So much to where when you walk into that store and you experience it, you know that every single element was on purpose and targeted towards their ideal customer. I will spend 2 hours in this store. I will not spend that much amount of time in any other store at all, except for maybe Costco if I'm standing in line for a really long time. But I walk in there, and the things that I crave in my life that really, really motivate me are travel and things with stories and connection and things that are eclectic and interesting. And their entire store, when you walk in, is all set up like that, where you just want to pick up everything. You want to touch it. You want to experience it. You want to know the story behind it. You want to know who created it and why it's special. And so they know all of that about their ideal customer. And that's why they don't even advertise. If you guys look at Gap, you see tons of Gap commercials on TV, right? You will never see a commercial for Anthropologie, and their business continues to explode every year. Even through the recession, they were doing very, very well. So that's a great, great brand for you guys to look at. Now, some rules of engagement when you are on social media. Talk like you're talking to one person and they're a dear friend. If you put a post up and you say, hey, y'all, it will not connect, because what are people doing? They're sitting in their house, probably on their phone all by themselves, they're not with a y'all, right? So if we're saying, hey, y'all, we're not going to connect with that one person. So that's why I'll use the word like, listen, sister, in my posts, because that's how I speak and that's how I connect to that one person. Always be yourself. This is where I see a lot of people kind of lose engagement on their posts. It's because you have to look at your first sentence almost like a really good email subject line. Because when people are scrolling super fast through Facebook, just using that finger swipe, if they don't catch something in a split second, it doesn't matter how genius your post is. If that first sentence falls flat, you'll lose them. You'll not get the same amount of engagement. And that first sentence has to make them curious. It has to draw them in. The way that I look for ideas and inspirations is I scroll through all my junk mail and I look through and see what email subject lines compel me to open up that email. And so I'll look for inspiration through junk mail. Share your story. How is this business or what has this business given you or will give you in terms of freedom? One thing that I know about people is that the really, really high quality, like ambitious driven workers, money is like a third tier priority to them. And oftentimes in network marketing, we try to grab people with like dangling the money in front of them. And people, it doesn't motivate those people. The people who you want to motivate and have on your team are the people who are motivated by community, the people who are motivated by like a common mission, the people who are motivated by freedom. Like the first thing that motivated me to join this business was I wanted freedom of time. I didn't want somebody telling me where I had to be, when I had to be there, and if I was going to be able to go do the things with my kids and be present with them that I wanted. That's what drew me into this business first. The financial freedom, also financial freedom, also really, really motivated me, not because I feel important to have a ton of money in my bank account, but because I want to be able to go jump on a plane and be present for a wedding. We're a military family, so our family is not close to us, so buying 4 plane tickets previous to this business was not in the realm of possibility for us, and this business gave us that freedom with the finances. The other thing to keep in mind is keep your sentences or your paragraphs short to lead the reader's eyes down the page. If you see someone with a huge block of text, if you guys were writing a paper and turning it in for college, you guys would not turn in. It would be like each paragraph would be a completely different thought, but that's not how a lot of people are writing on social media. It's like all thoughts all into one, like blah, 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 and it's overwhelming. And if it's such a big block of text, the first thing people are going to think is, I don't have time to read this, because that's everyone's number one complaint now, right now. People don't say, when you ask them, how are you doing? They don't say, oh, I'm fine anymore. They say, I'm great, but I'm busy. Almost everyone says that. We're all busy. And with social media, it just adds more to our plate of trying to keep up. People are expecting us to keep up with every single post. So what you guys can do to grab people's attention to where they're not going to look at your post and think, I don't have time to read that, is like 1 to 3 sentences max. If you guys go pay attention to my social media feed, you guys just go look at some of my long posts. Some of them are really long. I had to earn the right to write longer posts like that, so start short. But some of them are really long, almost like dissertations, and people will read them only because I keep my sentences really, or my paragraphs really short. Test content. What resonates with people and what doesn't. If a post falls flat, just delete it. I see so many people that are like, I'm so afraid to post this. What if people judge me? What if nobody likes it? And they post it and it's on there for 5 minutes and they're like, nobody's liked it yet. And I'm like, okay, give it 6 hours. If you don't get anybody clicking like or anybody commenting, just go delete it. And it's like it never happened. So you don't have to like feel that stress of should I or shouldn't I? Just post it, because you will never know. Some of my posts where I'm like, I'm just trying to get up a post and it's not even that great, those are the ones that go viral. And I'm like, how is this interesting? Like I put no time or effort. And the ones that I put like 2 hours thinking, well, that's a little generous. Maybe like 30 minutes, I might be like writing this genius post, or so I think in my head, and nobody likes it. And so I'm like, oh, well, like, go delete it. So you just never know until you post. And once you start figuring out, okay, this is getting a lot of likes, comments, and shares, start posting more of the same content. And you can even go back later on, like 6 months later maybe, and recycle the same content because people will not remember that you have already posted that. Always have a call to action at the end. How do you want people to engage with you? Tell them, because some people come to me and they're like, well, nobody's commenting on my post. And I'll say, well, did you ask them to? And they're like, well, no, I just saw it. Like, no, you can't just think. You have to tell your reader exactly what it is that you want them to do, how you want to engage with them. If you want them to click like, tell them to click like. If you want them to click share, tell them. I've had times where I've gone back and I'm like, I know this is a great shareable post, but I forgot to tell people to share. So I'll go back and I'll click edit. Before I had 0 shares. An hour later, I've had 16 shares because I had to go back and I told them to share that post. And don't ask them to write a lot. If you want them to comment, sometimes what I'll do is maybe I'll learn something really powerful in my personal development and I'll share that with people. And that's where I get a lot of my content from, is my personal development. So I will go back, or when I'm writing my post and my call to action at the end, if it's something meant to just inspire or motivate or just move people, or teach, I'll say, like, if this affected you, if if you could use a prayer today, just type a heart below. All they have to do is those 2 little characters, done. They've interacted with my post, and it didn't require a lot from them. Didn't require them to be vulnerable. It didn't require a lot of time commitment for them. But all of a sudden you'll start seeing people, or sometimes I'll just tell people to type a period and that's it. And all of a sudden, like, boom, 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 boom. I've got a ton of comments from people just by telling them to type a period to say, like, I read your post and it meant something to me. Okay, so this is an example of I have a website or a blog where I have one particular tab that's dedicated just to coaching, where if people are interested in the coaching opportunity, I'll send them that link, and I have a what is coaching video up there. And so I know what's important to my ideal customer. She craves financial freedom. She craves freedom of time. She craves travel. Like, she craves good wine. Those are the people that are going to connect to me, because that's a lot of what I talk about and who I am. And you guys can go read this on my blog, andreacrowderfitness.com/financial-fitness. And so you guys can see how I have written that out specifically to my ideal customer. And then I use similar wordings in my Facebook advertisements. So let me share with you guys now all of the information that I shared with you before, of like creating your ideal customer, and like where she shops, and like what she does, maybe what blogs she reads, how is she spiritual, stuff like that. Now I can use all of that information to target a Facebook ad specifically to them. So I know my ideal customer based off of my like page. It tells me that anywhere between about 25 to 40 are where I get, and they're women. That's the majority of the people that follow me. And so that's who I target my ads to. I work best with women. I've had a lot of, this is just a screenshot of, I ran a bridal boot camp not that long ago. So I targeted people who were engaged. I targeted people who were following magazines like a bridal magazine or the knot.com. And then when I'm just running a normal recruiting ad, I target people who follow Tory Burch. I target people who follow Anthropologie, and all those things where, like, if I talk about those brands on my page and my person is already following with me and I'm now advertising directly into that specific audience, I target people who follow Pinot Noir wine. It can get too specific, so pay attention. There's this little needle over here on the right side. Make sure that's in the middle, because if it's too specific, you won't be getting in front of enough people. And if it's too broad, you'll be getting a lot of the wrong people. You'll get all those people that like work at Subway for minimum wage and they want money, but they don't want to work for it. So that is why it's so important that when we are, when we're getting ready to like really target the right people, and the people that are going to really light us up to work with and that we're really going to create awesome connections with, I know who that person is already. So I'm talking to them about the things that like we love or they love. And then I'm using Facebook targeted ads to get my message out in front of more people, because it's such, and you can run an ad like for as little as $1 a day if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be a huge investment. you guys remember, I was $100,000 in debt when I started my business. So I would make a little money, I would invest a little money back into my business. I would make a little money, I would invest a little money back into my business. And that's how I started growing my following and using, investing into my personal development as well. So I honestly, I hardly spent any of the money I made in my first year as a coach at all. I invested the majority of it back into my business. And that worked for me. I could do that. If you guys need some of your money for living, just make a commitment to take, 10 or 20% of it and invest it back into your business. And you guys will see much faster growth if you guys do that, because the little bit, I think it's like for every dollar you spend, you get a $30 return when you're investing into skills. So understanding social media and understanding Facebook and how to leverage Facebook to be doing your work for you, especially if you guys are busy. I don't have time to individually reach out and go try to friend a million people, and then Facebook blocks me from adding friends. Facebook ads allow me to really expand my reach very quickly. And I kind of looked at it as I can't afford not to have Facebook be doing this work for me, because I was paying myself more in the time that I was spending initially. If you guys are brand new and you still have your warm market to work through, start with that. But get your like page running up right away and start, creating content and building up posts that way, so that when you're ready to start moving into Facebook advertising. But even if you're not using Facebook ads, you still want to be talking to your ideal customer when you speak through social media, because especially with Facebook like pages, it's a little bit harder to get your stuff seen. But if you're really raw and real, and if you connect really well with the people who you're intentionally trying to target, your engagement it's going to start to go up really naturally. But you have to just be really yourself, have a lot of dynamic content. I talk about wine all the time on my page, because I love the experience and the community that is really associated around it. And so that's not a health coach. I don't really look at myself as a health coach. That's not who I am at my core. And so I've built my brand around the things that really are who I am at my core. And then I use the ideal customer in order for me to speak to that person. And so this is what happens when you guys can speak to your ideal customer. So this is an example of one of my recruiting posts. And I said, I'm accepting 10 new interns. 3 years ago, I was buried under a pile of $100,000 worth of debt, stressed and struggling with career ADD. Does this sound familiar? This is a lot of what I have in my ideal customer. I dreamed of a life where I could own my own time, have coffee dates with my girlfriends, go on field trips, and still have a career all to myself. It seemed impossible. Normal moms with normal jobs can't live like that. Until I realized we can. I made a decision that would dramatically change my life forever. I started this coaching thing part-time that I worked on from my laptop at home after my kids were tucked into bed each night. It was so dreamy knowing that I could make money and a difference. Within 2 years, we paid off $100,000 worth of debt. And within 2.5, I hit a 5-figure monthly income. Within 3, I was earning a multi-6-figure annual income. I do live that life that I thought I'd never have, all because I decided to try something new. So I put, if you're self-driven or if you're self-motivated, driven, and normal girl that wants more out of life, positive, a team player, I'd love to chat with you. Always make sure to have a call to action at the end of exactly how you want to engage them to engage with you. And then I received a message from this girl, and she said, wow, reading your post about this internship literally brought tears to my eyes. I would definitely love any more information on how I could potentially be a part of this amazing opportunity. That was one of a ton of messages almost exactly like that, because, and I may not be getting huge numbers of responses, but I'm getting the right people that are really going to connect with me and that are going to connect with this business and this mission. And the last thing that I really want to share with you guys is that you really have to do a great job of believing in yourself and the company and what it is that we have to offer. Because if you guys are putting posts up there and you're like, I'm not sure really yet. I'm not sure if I'm really going to be committed. I'm not sure if I'm really in love with the company and the mission and the products and all that stuff. Your stuff just won't convert. The reason that people are joining with the people who are doing great posts, it's because of the passion and the belief behind what it is that we're doing and how we're serving people. Because like I said, those right people that you're looking for are not the people where if you dangle money in front of your face, those are the people who are like, I just want the money, but I don't want to work hard for it. The people that are willing to like break their back to work hard for a company like this, like the top coaches in this business, those are the people that want to know what's this mission and like, are you all in? Because I'm going to go all in with you if you are. So you guys have to be leading by example of being that all-in coach and being super committed and believing in where it is that you're going. Even if you guys just started today, that has to start today. And you just committing and saying, I'm going to give this my everything. Failure's not an option because I know the only way to fail is to quit. And I know I already got that in check. So, and when I hear people say like, Andrea, I hope that I can hit diamond, or I hope I can fill a challenge group this month, or I hope just one person will sign up. Hope does not get you anywhere. It's a decision. If you want to hit diamond, that is a decision. If you want to hit star diamond, or if you want to hit Success Club 10, that is a decision. And when you are super committed and you really truly decide and say failure is not an option and I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed, it will happen for you. And when you have that mindset, other people are going to jump all in and they're going to say, I want a piece of what she's got. I want a piece of where she's going or he's going, so that, you know, they're going to see you leading by example. And even if today is day one and you are hardcore committed, not about what you've already done, but about where you're going, people want to be a part of that. They're going to jump on your bus. And that's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you. That was a lot of information, and I'm sure people have questions. So if you have questions for Andrea, please unmute yourself, or you can post it in the chat.
Hey, Andrea, this is John Tantolo.
Hi, John.
So most of those posts are on your like page versus your personal page, like your recruiting post there at the end. Was that a post right on your like page?
That particular one was, but I'm glad that you asked that because that's a good question. I started my business for probably the first 2 years working exclusively off my profile page. And then I started learning how to leverage my like page, which now I exclusively use my like page to fill my challenge groups and my recruiting posts.
Okay. Right.
But I do know that there is now, I don't know if it's a new rule or maybe it always was a rule and we just didn't realize, but Facebook is really starting to crack down on people using personal pages for business. So.
Right. Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah, good question.
I know that one person asked me, do you have the ability to share your slides that they can download and look at?
Yeah, I can send those to you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Andrea, I had a question for you.
Yep.
So I've been playing around with like personal posts on my personal page on Facebook, seeing what works, what gets more stuff from people I'm posting it to. I just made a post the other day, like homemade laundry detergent, and it just took off. I mean, everybody was asking for the recipe and this and that. And so would that be more something like, hey, I should roll with that and maybe post other homemade stuff and try to go with that to get more people?
Yes. Absolutely. Anything like DIY, if that's what people are really like, if that's what they're engaging with on your post, I would absolutely do more of that. And people love like a good recipe, and that's really high quality free value to be offering people. It makes you someone of influence and of importance.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I have a question about struggling with finding, I'm still very new at this and working with my warm market still, and I'm trying to find my target group, I'm a nurse and I seem to be outreaching to a lot of nurses, but I don't want to, working still with the warm market, kind of keep myself limited to just that, because the people that are now starting to like the page and all of that, maybe 50-50 nurses and then other occupations as well. Do you start off right from the beginning, right with what you believe will be your target group, the people that you're going to connect with the most, or kind of work into that as you're working through your warm market?
Yeah, I say like people who are just in general in healthcare is a beautiful niche, because we have something more powerful almost, because we offer them to be able to help people and be preventative versus trying to treat. If you guys heard Alyssa's call just a few weeks ago on the National Wake Up Call, and she talked about that, and she's really branded herself as, I think her brand is called A Fit Nurse. And obviously it served her very well being the top coach. And the other cool thing is that once you start getting into Facebook advertising, if you're still in your warm market, I wouldn't even go there yet, but then you can start targeting specifically towards healthcare professionals, which they're gonna see that like you've already done this, and they know that you know what they're going through, and so they'll trust you before you even ever talk to them for the first time. So I would really leverage that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Andrea, do you try to get people involved in like a free challenge first, or do you go right into like a challenge pack?
I get people, it depends on what I'm marketing. So for example, if I'm marketing a business opportunity post, I usually promote like a 5-day sneak peek. I know a lot of teams are doing that now. And what we did, if you guys don't already implement that, is we just took 5 different stories each day of the week, and we had a different coach on our team record a video, share their story, share how this business has impacted them, and then give a small assignment, like write a list of like 5 BHAG goals, or go share an inspirational post on Facebook. Just the core things that we already do every day as a coach, just teaching them how simple this business is. Another one is like go send out 3 hey, how are you messages, and just reconnect with old friends. And we get people coming back saying, this was like my favorite assignment because I haven't talked to this person in forever. It sparked up this awesome conversation. And it just shows them that this business is not rocket science. It's all about relationships and serving people. And so I get them involved directly into a 5-day sneak peek. And then the last day is, I like to end it with like the last day showing a little bit of a longer term success story, like myself or another one of my coaches that might be closer to a 6-figure income. And then for my challenge group, so what I often do is I'll run ads for a 7-day clean eating challenge. And that's how I get people into my market and my follow-up list. And some people will then sign up for a challenge group afterwards. Some people won't, but then I now have that list of people that I know are interested in losing weight. You can talk about like the discount opportunity for Shakeology. Once you get them into that free challenge, you can kind of talk to them a little bit more stuff. You can get people started on demand for free for 30 days. People should really be leveraging on demand in a free challenge group. But that is the first step, is getting them into either a 5 or a 7-day free something, and then upgrading them to the next level at the end.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, anyone else?
I see all the East Coasters yawning. Sorry, guys. I used to feel your pain.
Yep. Okay, well then, thank you very much. We'll call it a night, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks.